site on the planet is not only the largest, I mean, it's just the grossest thing. If you've ever, you see it, it's just the grossest thing in the world. And they're destroying the prairies to do this. And you've heard about the ducks, and it's not just the ducks, it's everything that lives out there. It's just being destroyed and wiped out, including the indigenous people who live there. But here's a little interesting piece of data about the tar sands. Now, I'm sure some of you know and have heard about the net energy concept. You know what I'm talking about when I say net energy? Does that make any sense to you? Well, I'm going to explain it really briefly because it's an important thing and it's interesting about the tar sands. Everything that lives has to get its food out of positive net energy. Like a trout in a stream, hiding behind a rock in the slow-moving water, if it expends more than a calorie of energy to get a calories worth of flies floating down the river, it dies. That's obvious, right? So everything that lives has to get its food, get its energy at least more than 1-to-1 net energy. And trouts in a stream could, because they have all these other things they have to do. Sex being number one. A trout in a stream operates on about 2-to-1, 3-to-1 net energy. Early hunter-gatherer humans in the Pleistocene operated about a 2 to 3-to-1 net energy. And what's happening with the planet is that as we destroy the ecosystem, what we're doing is eroding the ability of people to survive. So for a family that lives in a parched, desolate landscape where the mother of the family has to spend all day walking around to collect a few sticks so they can boil some tea in the evening, is barely be able to do this at a positive net energy. You understand what I'm saying? And this is because as we destroy the ecosystem, we're actually eroding our ability to survive on the planet. But on top of this, we have this burning culture of computers and buses and airplanes, and this world we live in is built on all this energy we're dragging out of the planet. But here's the interesting thing about it. Oil in its heyday. The reason we have all this stuff today, airplanes and all these fancy gadgets we have, is we've been operating on an unprecedented net energy. Oil in its heyday was 100-to-1 net energy in the 30s, 1930s. So suddenly humanity had this boom. Like in the Pleistocene, we were like 2 or 3-to-1 net energy. And when we essentially enslaved animals and other human beings, we cranked that up to like 4 or 5-to-1 net energy. Most of what we call alternative energy, solar, wind, so forth, these are like 5-to-1, 6-to-1, 7-to-1 net energy, which is actually pretty good historically. But the reason that humanity was able to do what it's done in the last 50 years is it found oil, which was 100-to-1 net energy in its heyday. By the 50s, by the 1950s, oil was like 30-to-1, 30 to 40-to-1 net energy. Today, the oil that we're drilling today, average, is about 15-to-1 net energy. Now, the people that are running these oil companies, by the way, they know this. They know exactly what's happening. And the reason they haven't gone into the tar sands until now is because the best tar sands was 4-to-1 net energy. They've already gone through the easy stuff in the tar sands, scraping it off the top. And as they go down, you see these big machines, these big trucks, all this stuff. The tar sands, the best tar sands is 4-to-1 net energy, and they're already digging into the 3-to-1 net energy tar sands, which is no better than a trout in a stream or a Pleistocene hunter-gatherer or the Amazon indigenous people. And Charles Hall, who's an engineer I work with, who's at the State University of New York, who's really the expert on this net energy business, he estimates that it's not possible to operate an advanced, highly technical civilization on less than 6-to-1 net energy. So we can't operate, the world we know cannot be operated on the tar sands. Now, the people that are making money off of digging up the prairies to produce this oil, they know that. They know this stuff backwards and forwards. They have hundreds of engineers, all well paid, really smart people who know this. But they don't know how to stop. So we're in this sort of run, and everything, here's the thing that ties into all the other issues that we're facing. Climate change is a symptom. Destroying the prairies is a symptom. The depleted fish in the ocean is a symptom. It's all the symptom of the same thing. Humanity is in massive overshoot on the planet. We're halfway through the forest. There used to be about 8 billion hectares of forest on the planet. There's now about 4. But here's the thing. Just like the oil, we high-graded everything. We high-graded the fish. We took the best fish. We took the best trees. We took the best oil. So even though we have half the acreage of forest left, we have about a quarter of the actual standing timber, and we have about 1/8 of the actual value. We don't have the great valuable timber. I mean, you can't get a nice rosewood back for a guitar, anymore. We've gone through all that stuff. So the tar sands is typical of humanity's dilemma. And us, we, Greenpeace, we're the ones that are having to say, and sometimes it's not a very pleasant message to have to deliver, we have to change the way we live. Sorry, humanity. I mean, we weren't born to have to deliver this message, but this is the message of our age, and we have to explain this to people. We have to use less stuff. We have to calm down, slow down, and we'll be lucky if we can survive on what we call alternative energy at 6 or 7 to 1 net energy, and save the internet and save all these things that we enjoy, cell phones and the internet. We'll be lucky if we can pull this off. But we're not going to pull it off with the tar sands. Anyway. Don't get me started. Total disaster.